Welcome back to AM Northwest. The holidays are a time of dinner parties, family gatherings, and work events. Here to share some important reminders about etiquette, we welcome back image consultant Carol Parker Walsh. Always good to see you.
Thank you. Good to be back.
I know you've been traveling a lot, working
Yes.
a lot out on the road, and you frequently encounter business lunches and dinners.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, most organizations are conducting business at breakfast,
Right.
at lunch, at dinner. And actually, by not knowing how to conduct yourself at a dinner table can actually lose a lot of money.
Oh.
I talk a lot about first impressions in terms of how you show up and how you look. And,
Right.
you know, we've done a lot about that. But the other level of that is your behavior and how you move and how you act and your decorum. So
Right.
you can look great, but lose a lot of ground if you have table manners like Cookie Monster. So
Right.
that's
Good
not gonna
point.
really be helpful. And a lot of organizations will bring potential employees out to dinner to really understand whether or not they'll be a good fit in the company.
Mm-hmm.
Because just by how you act at dinner, it can let them know if you're a team player, if you follow rules, if you understand decorum and how to act. Are
Right.
you a giver or a sharer? Or are you selfish? So a lot of things can be told just in how you conduct yourself at the dinner table.
First of all, when you sit down to a dinner table or a lunch table, what do you do?
Well, the first thing you do is that you want to, the key is always to follow the lead of the host, right?
Okay.
So you enter after the host. You sit down after the host. You take your chair, you pull it out with both hands because you don't know what it is, and you enter from the right of the chair to sit down, right? And then once you sit down,
You enter from the right?
you enter from
Always
the
right?
right. You always enter from the right side of the chair when you sit
Interesting.
down, right?
Okay.
It just makes things a lot more easier.
Okay.
The other thing you do is you want to take your napkin and you want to discreetly pull it down into your lap and unfold it into just a half fold, right?
Oh.
A lot of times people will notice that, you know, the napkin ends up on the floor.
Yeah.
Right? So they're about 26 inches. So this much real estate is more likely to slip off your lap. So if you just do a half fold, it'll stay there.
I didn't
so
realize
you don't
that.
want to do one of these. You don't want to do one of these.
No.
You want to just discreetly pull it down into your lap.
Okay.
And if you need to get up to go to the restroom, you take your napkin and just leave it on the chair because
yeah.
no one wants a dirty napkin on the table.
Right.
And when you're
Or
done,
they think you're done if you put it on the table, right?
And when you're done, you just fold it up the best you can and leave it on the left
Okay.
to where the forks were when you started the dinner.
Okay. All right. So you put your napkin there.
Yes.
Now let's talk about eating because I'm seeing a lot of silverware on here.
Yes. So what I did was to do a formal setting. Usually in an informal setting, you'll see a salad fork, a dinner fork, maybe a knife and a spoon and a water glass, and you're done. But this is a more formal setting. And what it is that by the setting, you know what's going to be served.
Sure.
So you start with what's known here as your cocktail fork, and it's the only fork that's on this side of the table. One of the tricks that I tell people is to think.
Napkin from
Thank you. One
Yep.
of the things I tell people is to think of do a B and a D like this. So this lets you know bread is on this side where the forks go and drinks are on this side in case you're confused about where to go.
Okay.
But you start on the outside with the only fork that's going to be on your right, which is your cocktail fork, and then followed by your spoon that lets you know that's going to be the
that's
next
a soup
course.
spoon, yeah.
Right, your soup spoon. And the way you eat soup is that you always go in and go from the outside. You hold it like a pencil, and you soup from the back, and then you drink it from the side.
Gotcha.
Right? You never do no blowing.
Yeah.
No, oh my God, that's hot. That's just the way. If it's too
Just
hot,
burn your lips.
right?
Darn it.
Just kind of engage it, but you don't blow on it.
Okay.
The next course is usually your knife, your fish course, and this is a fish knife and a fish fork, and you use it. You hold it the same way like a pencil, and it's really designed to flake away.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and that's why you see this little pointy in the gauge. So if there are any bones, you can pull that out to be able to really flake
I was
and eat
saying
your fish.
to you, it looks like a butter knife.
Yeah, it does. It does. But this pointiness lets you know that it's actually a fish. So that's going to be your next course, which you'll do with your white wine. And then in some places, particularly in continental settings, you'll have your main dish, and then you'll have your salad. So you have a salad fork and a knife because that can be your palate cleanser. So your main course is usually going to be a red meat, so you do red wine.
Right.
You have your water glass, which is really for non-alcoholic beverages, so for iced tea, for water, or lemonade, or things of that nature.
Right.
And of course, you have your champagne in case there's going to be a toast or for something to eat to drink with the dessert. And then your dessert setting are always going to be at the front, and they're designed to be this way so that you pull them out to the side.
No,
so
I didn't
you
know
have
that.
them
Okay.
for your ice cream or cake, depending on what's going to be served. And then finally, you have your butter plate. And your butter plate is really important because, for example, if people are passing bread, you never want to grab a piece of bread, split the thing open, and start slapping on butter. You're actually supposed to take a little piece of it, whatever's going to be bite-sized, and then leave the rest of the bread there, butter, and then eat.
Oh.
You also always eat with your right hand in American settings. So for the main course, you usually usually would take your meat. You always hold it with tines down, and you hold it this way, and you cut your piece. In American dining, you set the knife down,
and then
you switch hands, and you use your right.
In Europe, it's the other way.
Right. In continental or European dining, you cut this way, and then you eat with tines down. Right. So this is the way to eat. When you're leaving the table, like with the napkin, for American dining, you set the knife here, and you set the fork this way, and that lets the waiter know you have the 10-20 position.
Right.
Well, this lets you know I'm coming back. Right.
Oh,
so
I
this
see.
is I'm coming back. For continental dining, if you set it this way, it lets them know that you're coming back. Right. So, but for both settings, if you're done, you set it at the 10-20 position.
That means you're done.
Right. That signals that you're done. Right. And so that is the best way to do that. You know, the other thing is when you're passing, when somebody asks for salt and pepper, for example, can you pass the salt? Can you pass the pepper? A good rule of thumb is always to try your food before you season it, because it's insulting to the person who cooked, because you don't know how much seasoning is there.
Even if you already put enough salt in there.
Exactly. Even if you know you love it hot or spicy or salty, just try it first as a rule of thumb. But if someone asks for you to pass the salt, you pass both.
Both of them.
You always pass both salt and pepper, and you always pass to the right.
That was my next question.
Yes.
What is rule about passing?
You always
to the
pass
right.
Exactly.
Even if the person is sitting right next to you?
Right. Well, if a bread basket comes, what you do is offer the person to the left the opportunity to get a piece of bread, then you pass the basket the rest of the way on the way to the right.
Okay.
Exactly.
But if someone next to you wants a salt and pepper, you just...
Yes, you can let the person to the left offer them to them, and then you go ahead and pass it to the right.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just good manners to be respectful to the person that's next to you as well.
What is the worst table manners you've seen? An incident in which...
Well, I tell you, cell phones. The advent of cell phones are horrible. The idea of coming to dinner is actually... You know, most people don't realize that it's not really the food. It's about the company and the engagement that you have. So when you show up and you're on your cell phone or you're answering texts or you're doing this, you're really not being respectful to the table and to those around you.
You need to be present.
You need to be present. So cell phones are absolutely horrible. Chewing with your mouth open, drinking with your mouth open, all of those are no-nos that you do at the dinner table.
Carol, really good stuff. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Carol Parker Walsh. We always learn new interesting things.